Learning idioms can be a real drag, just memorizing boring lists. But what if you could learn 10 common English idioms just by following a story? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to follow a couple on their journey to getting married, and we'll see how these phrases pop up in the real world.
So, what on earth do pre-wedding jitters and the laces on your shoes have in common? Well, they're both actually powerful idioms, one about commitment and one about money. Sounds a little random, right? Stick with me and you'll see how it all clicks together.
Let's meet our couple, Emma and David. They just got engaged, and we're going to be a fly on the wall as they plan their big day. Their whole journey is going to be our guide, showing us exactly when and how you can use these fantastic phrases. All right, so every good story has a dream, right? But it also usually has a problem. For Emma and David, their dream of a perfect wedding is about to slam right into the hard reality of their bank account.
And wow, here it is, their first major hurdle. The dream is this $45,000 wedding at a fancy hotel. The reality? They've got $8,000 in savings. Yikes, that is a massive, massive gap to close.
And cue our first idiom. David sees that price tag and he is just floored. Now, obviously, he's not actually afraid of losing his arm and his leg. He's just using this classic phrase to say, "Whoa, there is no way we can afford this."
So, yeah, when you say something costs an arm and a leg, it's total exaggeration. It's a really common and kind of dramatic way to say something is just way too pricey. It paints a powerful picture in your head, which is exactly why idioms like this are so easy to remember. But Emma, she's the practical one here. She counters David's panic with a whole new plan, and our second idiom. And nope, she's not talking about actual shoelaces. She's suggesting a complete change in strategy.
To do something on a shoestring just means you've got a really, really tight budget. You have to get creative. You have to be resourceful, which is exactly what Emma and David have to do now.
Okay, so with this new shoestring mindset, they roll up their sleeves and get to work on a plan that's a little more, realistic.
So their new plan has a few key parts, and guess what? Each one comes with its own idiom. First, they look at their budget and realize they can barely make ends meet. That just means they have just enough money to pay the bills, and that's it. So rule number one, they agree not to break the bank. Spend every last penny they have. Their big idea, it gives them the best of both worlds, a beautiful garden for the ceremony and a cozy backyard for the party. This phrase is awesome. It means you get all the good stuff from two different options. But, all this money stress makes Emma a little nervous. She's worried David might get cold feet, which is a super common way to say someone's getting scared and might back out of a big commitment.
And David's like, no, I'm not nervous about marrying you, just the money. And Emma's reply? It's perfect. And it brings in our next idiom. She reminds him of everything they've already been through together.
Okay, so through thick and thin, this means you stick by someone no matter what happens. Through the good times, the thin, and the really tough times, the thick. It's a huge statement about being loyal and committed.
All right, so the plan is solid. They're feeling strong as a couple. But it can't be that easy, right? Of course not. No wedding story is complete without some last-minute drama. With just 1 week to go, disaster strikes.
Oof, this one is gonna hurt. The food truck they booked, it cancels. And their $1,200 deposit, poof, gone. With only a week to go and almost no money left, they are in some serious trouble. But just when they think it's all over, Emma's mom calls with an idea. Her Aunt Rosa, who used to own a restaurant, offers to cater the whole wedding as a gift. Emma's reaction says it all. This help is a total lifesaver.
So in the nick of time, this means something happened at the very, very last possible moment. It's like a superhero swooping in right before the bomb goes off. Aunt Rosa's offer was that perfect last-second rescue.
And then Aunt Rosa herself chimes in with a totally different way of looking at it. She reframes the whole disaster with another fantastic idiom, suggesting that this horrible thing was actually a good thing.
A blessing in disguise? I love this one. It's when something seems really bad at first, but it ends up leading to something amazing. Losing the food truck felt like a catastrophe, but it meant they got incredible, homemade food cooked with love. Way better than they ever could have planned.
And just like that, the wedding day is here. And you know what? After all that hard work, all the creativity, and a little help from their family, everything is perfect. The ceremony's beautiful, the backyard reception is just full of joy, and everyone is raving about the food.
So as Emma just soaks it all in, she says it all with our last perfect idiom. It just totally captures that feeling of pure happiness.
Yeah, to be over the moon just means you are absolutely, unbelievably happy. Like, so happy you feel like you could float. It's the perfect way to express that kind of massive joy, and a great way to wrap up their story.
So, wow, from a near disaster to the absolute perfect day, we've picked up 10 really useful idioms. Let's do a quick recap so you can start using them yourself.
All right, here's the whole toolkit in one spot. We talked about money stuff, right? From something that costs an arm and a leg to trying to make ends meet when you're on a shoestring budget and try not to break the bank. Then we had idioms about commitment, like sticking together through thick and thin and making sure you don't get cold feet. And finally, we had those cool idioms about timing and perspective. A rescue that comes in the nick of time, a problem that turns into a blessing in disguise, and that feeling of being totally over the moon.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. For Emma and David, their biggest crisis actually turned into their wedding's best feature. Kind of makes you think, doesn't it? So let me ask you, what was your last blessing in disguise? When did something that felt like a total disaster actually turn into one of the best things that could have happened?